phone vibrated violently against the glass table, the sharp sound slicing through the silence of the penthouse. Spiff's eyes snapped open. His chest rose fast, like he had been pulled out of something deep, something dark. He didn't check the time. He already knew. 3:15 a.m. It was always 3:15. The phone buzzed again. Not a notification, not a random alert. This felt deliberate. Spiff sat up slowly, his jaw tightening. For a moment, he didn't move, didn't breathe properly. Then he reached for the phone. The city lights stretched endlessly behind him, glowing through the glass walls. Everything about his life screamed power. But right now, none of it mattered. His thumb hovered over the screen. Unknown number. One message. He opened it, and everything inside him went still. "You shouldn't have left me that night." The air shifted. Spiff's fingers tightened around the phone. "No," came out under his breath. Soft, disbelieving, because there was only one person who could say that. Only one. And that person was gone. 3 years gone. Max. Spiff stood up abruptly, pacing. "This is a joke." But even as he said it, his voice lacked conviction. No one knew about that night. No one. Not the real version of it. He ran a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. "Get a grip." He dropped the phone on the table and walked toward the window, staring out at the sleeping city. He had built everything from nothing.
This is a joke.
Every deal, every risk, every calculated move. He controlled outcomes. He didn't react to fear. So why was his heart beating like this? Behind him, mobile phone buzz. Spiff turned instantly. Slowly, he walked back, picked up the phone. Another message. "You still blame yourself." His throat went dry. Then the second line appeared. "You should." This time, the phone slipped from his hand and hit the floor. The sound echoed louder than it should have. No, no, no. He stepped back like the phone itself was dangerous. This isn't real. But his mind had already gone somewhere else.
Walk away now and we are
somewhere
done.
he had been
You hear me?
trying to
Done.
avoid for 3 years.
Maybe we
Then,
already were.
cold air. A voice filled with anger. And those last words. "Yeah. Like you always do." Spiff squeezed his eyes shut. "Stop." But the memory didn't listen. It never did. That night replayed whether he wanted it or not. And tonight felt closer than ever. He didn't sleep again. Not that night. Not really. By morning, he had convinced himself it was nothing. A prank. A hacker. Someone trying to get into his head. And if there was one thing Spiff didn't tolerate, it was losing control. By 9 a.m., he was back in his element. Suited. Focused. Sharp. His assistant walked beside him, tablet in hand. "Your 11 a.m. meeting is confirmed. Investors are flying in." Spiff nodded once. "Good." His tone was calm, measured, like nothing had happened, because that's what he did best. He buried things. "Also," she continued, "there's a private dinner scheduled tonight. Cancel it." She blinked. "Sir, cancel it." "No explanation." She nodded quickly. Understood. They entered the boardroom. Executives stood as he walked in. Respect, power, control. This was his world. And here, nothing could touch him. But that night, at exactly 3:15 a.m., mobile phone buzz. His eyes opened instantly. This time, he didn't hesitate, didn't question. He grabbed the phone like he had been waiting. Another message. "Don't attend the meeting tomorrow." Spiff frowned. That was it. No emotional attack. No mention of the past. Just a warning. He sat there, staring at the words. That's new. He leaned back slightly, thinking. That meeting wasn't public. Very few people knew about it. $1 billion deal. Months in preparation. Missing it wasn't an option. Nice try, he muttered. He dropped the phone and turned over, forcing himself to sleep. Morning came fast. Spiff adjusted his cufflinks as he prepared to leave. His assistant followed closely. The investors have already arrived. Good. They walked toward the elevator. Everything was moving as planned. Exactly how he liked it. Then, he paused. Just for a second. That message. Don't attend the meeting tomorrow. He exhaled. This is ridiculous. He stepped into the elevator. Doors closing. Decision made. Or so he thought. Halfway down. Stop. The word came out suddenly. His assistant looked confused. Sir. Stop the elevator. She quickly pressed the emergency hold. The elevator jerked slightly. Silence. Spiff stared ahead, his jaw tight. Something felt off. Not logical. Not explainable. Just off. Cancel the meeting. His assistant blinked again. Sir, the investors. Cancel it. His tone this time left no room for argument. She nodded immediately. Yes, sir. The elevator resumed. But Spiff didn't move. Didn't speak. He didn't even understand why he had done that. Only that something inside him had refused to ignore it. By noon, everything changed. His office doors burst open. His assistant rushed in, breath uneven. There's been an incident. Spiff looked up slowly. What kind of incident? She swallowed. The building where the meeting was supposed to hold. Part of it collapsed. Heavy. Unreal. Spiff didn't react immediately. Didn't speak. Didn't move. Casualties are still being confirmed, she added quietly. The words barely registered, because in his mind, there was only one thing, that message. Don't attend the meeting tomorrow. Spiff leaned back slowly, his expression unreadable, cold, controlled. But inside, everything shifted. That wasn't a coincidence. Couldn't be. He looked at his phone on the table, like it was something new, something dangerous. Something powerful. That night, he didn't wait. He sat on the edge of his bed, phone in hand, eyes fixed on the screen, waiting. For the first time in his life, Spiff, the man who controlled everything, was waiting for something he didn't understand. 3:14 a.m. Silence. 3:15. Mobile phone buzz. He opened it instantly. Now you're listening. Spiff swallowed. His fingers hovered before typing. Who are you? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. His heart pounded harder with each second. Finally, the reply came. You already know. His grip tightened. No, he typed quickly. I don't. A pause. Longer this time. Then, you just don't want to accept it. Spiff stood up, frustration rising. Enough games. Another reply came instantly. You avoided death today. His breath caught slightly. You're welcome. Spiff froze. That word. That calm. Almost familiar tone. It didn't feel like a stranger. Felt close. Too close. Say it. Spiff whispered under his breath. Say who you are. The reply came slower this time. Deliberate. You left me. His chest tightened again. Say his name. Silence. Then, Max. The room felt smaller, like the walls were closing in. Spiff shook his head. No, you're not him. His fingers moved fast. You can't be him. The response came immediately. You're right. Spiff blinked, confused. Then the next message came. And this time, it hit harder than everything before. I'm not Max. Spiff's heartbeat quickened. Then, I'm the reason you can't sleep. Spiff stared at the screen, his pulse pounding in his ears. I'm the reason you can't sleep. The words didn't just sit there. They pressed in. Heavy. Personal. What does that even mean? He muttered. His fingers moved quickly. Stop speaking in riddles. Who are you? The typing dots appeared, disappeared, came back again, like whoever was on the other side was thinking, carefully choosing each word. Then, you don't deserve answers yet. Spiff let out a sharp breath. Anger this time. Not fear. Not confusion. Anger. I don't have time for this. He threw the phone onto the bed and stood up, pacing. This is manipulation. That's all this is. But even as he said it, his mind replayed the afternoon. The collapsed building. The meeting he was supposed to attend. The lives that could have included his. His jaw tightened. No, this is coincidence. But the voice in his head didn't sound convinced anymore. Behind him, Mobile phone buzz. Spiff turned immediately. He walked back slower this time, picked up the phone. Another message. You always run when things get uncomfortable. His chest tightened. That's not true, he snapped under his breath. He typed, you don't know anything about me. The reply came instantly. I know everything about you. His fingers paused midair. That line, it didn't feel like a threat. Felt like a fact. Then prove it. He hit send. Seconds passed. Then, 3 years ago. Then, 11:47 p.m. Spiff froze. His throat went dry instantly. You walked away while he was still breathing. The phone felt heavier in his hand. No. He shook his head slowly. No, that's not what happened. His fingers trembled slightly as he typed. It was an accident. The response came slower this time. Almost deliberate. You keep telling yourself that. Spiff's breathing grew uneven. I didn't know, he typed quickly. I didn't know how bad it was. 3 dots. Then, you didn't check. That one line hit harder than everything else. Spiff's chest tightened painfully. I called later, he typed almost defensively. I made sure. You left. The reply cut him off instantly. Cold. Final. Spiff dropped onto the edge of the bed, running both hands over his face. Stop, he whispered. But the messages didn't stop. They told you he was drunk. They told you it was his fault. And you accepted it. Spiff's jaw clenched tightly. Because that's what it was. Even he didn't believe how weak that sounded. Another message came. You needed it to be his fault. Silence filled the room. Spiff didn't reply this time, because deep down, that one hurt the most. The next morning, everything felt different. Not on the outside. The city still moved. The meetings still lined up. The calls still came in. But inside, something had shifted. Spiff sat in his office, staring at a document that he hadn't read for 10 minutes. His assistant stood across from him. Sir. No response. Sir. He blinked, snapping back. Yes. You've been quiet. Should I reschedule the afternoon meetings? Spiff shook his head slightly. No. Keep them. She hesitated, then nodded. All right. She turned to leave. Wait. She stopped. Yes, sir? Spiff leaned back slowly. Did you ever feel like something from your past wasn't finished? She frowned slightly, confused. I'm not sure I understand. He exhaled lightly. Never mind. Okay. She left. The door closed softly. Spiff stared at it for a moment, then leaned forward, resting his elbows on the desk. This is getting in my head, he muttered. And I don't like it. He grabbed his phone, scrolled up, reread every message. Each one felt intentional, precise, like someone wasn't just texting him, but studying him. That night, he didn't wait in bed. He stayed in his office. Lights dim, phone on the table, eyes locked on the time. 3:14 a.m. Heavy silence. His jaw tightened. Come on. 3:15. Mobile phone buzz. He grabbed it instantly. Cancel your flight tomorrow. Spiff frowned immediately. That's it. No insult. No emotional attack. Just another warning. He leaned back, exhaling slowly. You've got to be kidding me. He typed. I have 3 meetings in another country tomorrow. No reply. He waited. Nothing. Answer me. Still nothing. His frustration grew. You don't get to just drop instructions and disappear. Silence. Spiff laughed bitterly. Unbelievable. He stood up, pacing. No, not this time. He looked at the phone again. I'm not canceling anything. He dropped it on the desk. Decision made. The next morning, everything moved fast. His assistant handed him his schedule. Your flight leaves in 1 hour. Good. Car is ready. Spiff adjusted his jacket, walking toward the exit. Confident, certain, back in control. At least, that's what he thought. Halfway to the airport, mobile phone buzz. Spiff glanced at the phone. New message. If you get on that plane, you don't come back. His heart skipped. just for a second. Then he scoffed. Now you're threatening me? He typed quickly. This ends today. No reply. He stared at the message again. If you get on that plane, you don't come back. Something about the wording felt different. Not emotional. Not manipulative. Just certain. The driver glanced at him through the mirror. Everything okay, sir? Spiff didn't answer immediately. His eyes stayed on the phone. His mind racing. Building collapse. That message had been real. Too accurate. His jaw tightened. Turn the car around. The driver blinked. Sir. Turn it around. The tone was sharp this time. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The car slowed, then turned. Spiff leaned back in his seat, staring ahead. His heart was beating faster now. Not from fear, from realization. By evening, the news broke. The flight he was supposed to be on had an emergency failure. Forced landing. Injuries. Chaos. Spiff stood in front of the TV, unmoving. The screen reflected in his eyes. His assistant stood behind him, shocked. That was your flight. In silence. Spiff didn't respond, because in that moment, the truth became undeniable. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't coincidence. This was something else entirely. Something that knew the future. Something that was keeping him alive. That night, 3:15 a.m., mobile phone buzz. Spiff didn't wait. He picked it up instantly. Now you're learning. His breathing was steady this time, controlled. But his mind was no longer the same. What do you want? He typed. There was a pause. Then, to fix you. Spiff frowned. I'm not broken. The reply came immediately. You built an empire to hide from one moment. His chest tightened again. That's not true. It is. Spiff clenched his jaw. You don't know me. I am you. Spiff froze. His eyes locked on the screen. His heartbeat slowed, then picked up again harder. What? The reply didn't come immediately. For the first time, there was a delay. A long one. Then, you just haven't realized it yet. Spiff stared at the message, his mind refusing to process it. You just haven't realized it yet. A cold silence filled the room. Then he laughed. Short, dry, disbelieving. No, we're not doing that, he said, shaking his head. He typed quickly. Enough. Stop trying to sound mysterious. 3 dots appeared. Then, you're scared. Spiff's jaw tightened. I'm not scared. Yes, you are. His grip on the phone tightened. I deal with billion-dollar risks daily. I don't get scared over messages. The reply came slower this time. Then why are you still awake? Spiff didn't answer. Because that one landed too clean. Too precise. He exhaled sharply and stood up, pacing. You're playing with psychology, he muttered. That's all this is. He typed again. You've had your fun. It's over. The response came instantly. You still think this is about control? Spiff stopped pacing. His eyes narrowed slightly. What is it about then? There was a pause. Longer this time. Then, consequences. That word sat heavier than the rest. Spiff swallowed. What consequences? Silence. Then, the ones you ran from. His chest tightened again. He shook his head slowly. I didn't run. You left. The correction came immediately. Sharp. Unforgiving. Spiff's breathing became uneven. I didn't know he was dying. You didn't stay to find out. Spiff snapped. I was angry. The message came fast. And he was hurt. That hit hard. Spiff ran both hands through his hair, frustration spilling over. What do you want from me? The reply came almost instantly. For you to stop lying. Silence. Thick. Heavy. Spiff's shoulders dropped slightly. For a moment, he didn't type, didn't argue, didn't defend. Because deep down, he knew. The next few days changed everything. The messages didn't stop, but they shifted. They became sharper, more personal, more direct. Every night, 3:15 a.m. Every time, another message. Another truth he didn't want to face. You built success so you wouldn't have to think. You surround yourself with noise so you don't hear it. You call it ambition. It's avoidance. Spiff stopped arguing. Not because he agreed, but because he didn't have answers. During the day, he functioned. Meetings, decisions, deals. Everything still moved, but slower, less certain. One afternoon, his assistant placed a file in front of him. "Sir, this is the investor you requested." Spiff glanced at it briefly, then froze. The name, too familiar. He picked it up slowly. His mind flashed. Mobile phone, avoid that investor. That message. From 2 nights ago. He hadn't taken it seriously. He hadn't even responded. Now, here it was, right in front of him. "Cancel it," he said suddenly. His assistant blinked. "Sir, cancel the meeting." "But you asked for." "I know what I asked for." His tone was firm, final. She hesitated, then nodded. "Understood." She took the file and left. Spiff leaned back slowly, his eyes unfocused. Something was happening. Not outside, inside. That night, he didn't wait for fear. He waited for answers. 3:15 a.m. Mobile phone buzz. He picked it up instantly. "Good." Spiff frowned. "What?" "You're starting to listen." His jaw tightened. "I canceled the meeting." "I know." Spiff paused, then typed slowly. "Who was he?" Then, "Someone who would have destroyed you slowly." Spiff leaned back, his heart beating steady, but heavy. "How do you know all this?" No reply. "Answer me." Still nothing. His frustration rose again. "You don't get to control my life and stay silent." The response came instantly. "I'm not controlling you." "Then what are you doing?" A little pause. Then, "Giving you a choice." Spiff stared at that line. A choice. It didn't feel like one. It felt like he was being led, directed, pushed. "Feels more like control," he typed.
No.
Then, "Control is what you've been doing." Spiff frowned. "What does that mean?" Another long pause. Longer. Then, "You controlled your emotions. You controlled the narrative. You controlled the truth." Each line came separately, slow, heavy, and it cost him his life. Spiff's breath caught. His fingers hovered over the screen, but no words came out, because this time, there was nothing to argue. "I said I didn't know," he finally typed. The reply came immediately. "You chose not to know." That line broke something. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, deep inside. Spiff dropped the phone beside him. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor. "I didn't want to see it," he whispered. The phone buzzed again. He didn't pick it up immediately. Didn't want to, but he did. Slowly. "I know." 2 words. Simple, but different. Not attacking, not accusing, just understanding. Spiff swallowed, his throat tight. "Then why are you doing this?" he typed. The response came slower, more deliberate. "Because you don't get to build a life on a lie." Spiff's eyes burned slightly, but no tears fell. "Not yet." "I didn't lie," he typed weakly. "You rewrote it." That hit again. Harder this time. "You made it easier to live with." Spiff closed his eyes, his chest rising slowly. "I had to move on." "No." The reply came instantly. "You avoided stopping." Spiff shook his head. "That's not fair." Another message came. Neither was leaving him there. That one landed deeper than everything else. Spiff's hands started shaking slightly. "I didn't think he would." "You didn't think." Total silence. Spiff couldn't argue anymore, because every response was already answered. Minutes passed. Neither side typed. Neither side moved. Then, Spiff finally asked the question he had been avoiding. "What do you want me to do?" The typing dots appeared, paused, disappeared, came back. Then, Go back. Spiff frowned. Go back where? No reply. Answer me. The message came slowly, carefully. To the moment you changed everything. Spiff's heart started pounding again. No. He shook his head immediately. No, that's not possible. Another message came. You said that about the messages too. His breathing became uneven. This is different. A longer pause. Then, not really. Spiff stood up abruptly. This is insane. But even as he said it, he didn't fully believe it anymore. Mobile phone buzz. One final message. And this one changed everything. You didn't just leave that night. Spiff froze. His eyes locked on the screen. Then the next line appeared. Slowly, like it was being written for impact. You caused it. Spiff didn't move. Didn't breathe properly. You caused it. The words sat on the screen, unmoving. But inside him, everything began to shift. No, came out faint. Barely a whisper. No, that's not true. His fingers trembled as he typed. That's not what happened. The reply came slowly, like it wanted him to feel every second. Yes, it is. Spiff stood up abruptly, pacing. This is manipulation, he said, shaking his head. You're twisting things. Another message came. Then remember it properly. His chest tightened. I remember it. No. Then, you remember the version that lets you sleep. Spiff froze. His breathing became uneven, because deep down, he knew that was true. The room felt heavier, smaller, like the past itself was closing in on him. Stop, he muttered. But the memories didn't stop. This time, they came clearer, sharper, unfiltered. Rain poured harder, the sound louder, the night colder. Max wasn't just angry. He was unstable. Drunk, yes, but also hurt. You think you're better than me now? Max had snapped. Spiff gripped the car door. I think I'm trying to grow, and you're holding me back. Max laughed bitterly. Grow? Or run? Spiff clenched his jaw. I'm done with this. Max stepped closer. You're done with anything that gets difficult. Move. Spiff's voice was sharp now, cold, controlled. Max didn't move. Instead, he shoved him. Not hard, but enough. Enough to trigger something. Spiff reacted instantly. Frustration, anger, ego. Everything built up, and he pushed back. Harder. Max stumbled. His foot slipped on the wet pavement. Time slowed, just for a second. Just enough. Then, there was an impact. The sound wasn't loud, but it echoed. Deep, final. Max hit his head against the edge of the curb. His body went still. Spiff froze. His breath caught. Max? No response. Rain hit his face, mixing with something else. Panic. Confusion. Fear. Max, get up. Still nothing. Spiff stepped closer, kneeling slightly, his hands hovering, but not touching, not checking, not confirming. Max, stop playing. His voice cracked slightly. Then, a faint sound. A breath. Weak. Barely there. Spiff saw it. He knew it. Max was still alive. And that was the moment. The real moment. The one he had buried. Fear took over. Not concern. Not responsibility. Fear. What if this gets worse? What if I get blamed? What if? Spiff stood up, his heart racing, his mind louder than reality. I'll call later. He whispered it, like it made it better, like it justified something. Then, he stepped back, turned around, and walked away. The memory snapped back. Spiff stumbled slightly, grabbing the edge of the table for support. His breathing was heavy now, uneven. I didn't. He shook his head. I didn't mean for that to happen. Mobile phone buzz. He looked at the phone slowly. You didn't mean it. A moment pause. Then, but you chose it. Spiff's chest tightened painfully. I was scared. I know. That response came softer. Different. Not attacking. Not cold. Just honest. Spiff swallowed hard. His voice barely steady. I didn't know he would die. The reply came after a pause. You didn't stay to find out. A moment's silence. Spiff's eyes burned now. His vision slightly blurred. Not from exhaustion. From something deeper. I could have helped, he whispered. Yes. I could have called someone sooner. Yes. I could have stayed. Yes. Each answer came. Simple. Undeniable. Spiff sank into the chair slowly. His body felt heavier than ever. Like everything he had avoided was finally sitting on him. I ruined everything. The reply came quietly. You changed everything. Spiff shook his head. That's worse. Still in silence. Minutes passed. Neither of them spoke. Then, Spiff asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Why are you showing me this now? The typing dots appeared. Then, because you're ready to see it. Spiff let out a shaky breath. Ready. You've lost control. That line landed differently. Not as an insult. As truth. You couldn't fix it with money. You couldn't bury it with success. And now, then, you're finally listening. Spiff leaned back, staring at the ceiling. I don't know what to do. For the first time, that was real. No defense. No ego. No control. Just honesty. The reply came slowly. This is where it changes. Spiff's heart started beating faster again. What changes? There was a pause. Then, everything. His grip tightened on the phone. What are you talking about? The response came in parts. Measured. Intentional. You go back. Spiff's body went still. No. You stay. His breathing quickened. No, that's not. You call for help. Spiff shook his head, standing up. This isn't possible. The final line came, and this one shattered everything. You don't walk away this time. Spiff's chest tightened. His voice cracked. I can't go back. Then, you already are. The room felt like it shifted. Subtly. But enough. Spiff looked around slowly. Something felt different. Mobile phone buzz. One last message. I'm not Max. Spiff swallowed. His heart pounding harder. Then, I'm you. His breath caught completely. What? The reply came. Slow. Heavy. 3 years from now. Spiff staggered slightly, grabbing the table. This doesn't make sense. I built this to fix what we did. Spiff shook his head. No. No, this isn't real. It is. Then, you become me. A moment's silence. Deep. Unavoidable. Successful. Powerful. And completely broken. Spiff's hands trembled. Tears finally forming. I don't want that. The reply came instantly. Then change it. Mobile phone buzz. The final instruction appeared. And this one, there was no misunderstanding. Go back to that night. Spiff's breathing slowed. Not because he was calm, but because something inside him had already made a decision. Go back to that night. The words echoed in his mind. Louder than everything else. Louder than fear. Louder than doubt. He closed his eyes. I can't, he whispered. The reply came immediately. I know. Then, but you will. The room shifted. Subtly at first. Then completely. The silence of the penthouse disappeared. Replaced by heavy rain. Relentless. Spiff's eyes snapped open. Dark street. Cold air. Water hitting his skin fast. Real. His breath caught. No. He looked down at his hands. Bit. Shaking. Then, a sound. Behind him. Mox. Spiff turned slowly. And there he was. On the ground. Exactly how he remembered. But this time, clearer. Realer. Alive. Max's chest moved faintly. A weak breath. Barely there. Spiff's heart slammed against his chest. This is it. His mind raced. Everything happening at once. Fear, guilt, regret. His body reacted automatically. He stepped back, just like before. Leave. The thought came instantly. Walk away. End this. His foot moved. One step. Then, he stopped. The voice, not loud, not external, but inside. Clear. Steady. You don't walk away this time. Spiff froze. Rain hitting harder. His chest rising fast. I'm scared, he whispered. And for the first time, there was no response. No message. Just him. And the moment, Max let out a faint sound. Barely audible. But enough. Spiff turned back. Slowly. His entire body shaking. Max! He dropped to his knees beside him. His hands hovered again. But this time, he didn't pull them back. He touched him carefully. Gently. Max, stay with me. His voice cracked. Real fear now. Not fear of consequences. Not fear of blame. But fear of losing him. Max's eyes fluttered slightly. Unfocused. Weak. Hey, don't sleep, Spiff said quickly, his hands shaking as he pulled out his phone. Stay with me. Okay? I'm here. His voice broke on the last word. His fingers trembled as he dialed. Every second felt louder, longer. He pressed the phone to his ear. Pick up, pick up. Then, a voice. Emergency services. Relief hit instantly. I need help, Spiff said quickly. My friend hits his head. He's not responding properly. Please, we need help now. His words rushed out. Messy, desperate, and real. Location? The voice asked calmly. Spiff looked around quickly, describing everything. His voice steadier now. Focused. Present. I'm staying with him, Spiff said firmly. I'm not leaving. He dropped the phone to speaker, placing it beside him. Max. Hey, you're okay. His hands held him gently now. No pain. No fear of involvement. Just care. Stay with me, all right? You're not going anywhere. His voice softened, trembled, but didn't break. Sirens faint at first, then louder. Spiff let out a shaky breath. They're coming. You hear that? They're coming. Max's breathing steadied slightly. Still weak, but there. Alive. Spiff closed his eyes briefly, tears finally slipping down. I'm so sorry. The words came out broken. I'm so sorry. But this time, he didn't run. The sirens grew louder, lights flashing in the distance. And for the first time in 3 years, Spiff stayed. Everything faded. The rain, the sound, the night. Spiff opened his eyes slowly. Morning light. Soft, calm. He sat up, breathing steady. Heart, peaceful. No glass walls. No fame. No tower. Just a simple room. Quiet, warm, real. Spiff looked around slowly, taking it in. Different. Everything was different. He reached for his phone. Checked the time. 3:15 a.m. had passed. No messages. No unknown numbers. But total silence. But this time, not heavy, not suffocating. Peaceful. He leaned back slightly, a small smile forming, tears in his eyes, but lighter now, because this time, he knew. Max lived. The life he had known before. The empire. The billions. The power. Gone. But something else had taken its place. Something he had never been able to buy. Peace. Spiff exhaled slowly, looking up. Thank you. He didn't know if anyone was listening. Didn't know if that version of him still existed. But he meant it. Because this time, he didn't become a billionaire. But he didn't lose himself either. And for the first time in years, Spiff lay back down, closed his eyes, and slept. If this story made you feel something, if it made you think about choices, about moments we ignore, about the things we wish we could change, then take a second right now, like this video, because stories like this deserve to reach more people. And if you enjoy powerful, emotional stories that stay with you long after they end, make sure you subscribe. There's more coming. Stories that will challenge you, shift you, and maybe even change how you see your own life. And before you go, I want to hear from you. If you were Spiff, would you have stayed the first time? Or would you have walked away too? Drop your answer in the comments. And also, let us know where you're watching from. It's always amazing to see how far these stories reach. Because sometimes, one moment is all it takes to change everything.